Welcome to Newsbeacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. On October 13, 2024, as dusk settled over the Golani Brigade's base near Binyamina, a sense of routine and calm filled the air. Soldiers gathered in the dining hall sharing stories and laughter after a long day of training and duty. The base, nestled in the heart of Israel, felt secure, far from the front lines, shielded by layers of defense and distance. But that evening, the ordinary was shattered in an instant by a sudden, thunderous explosion that ripped through the quiet. A Hezbollah drone, flying low and undetected, managed to evade Israel's sophisticated air defense systems. It struck with chilling precision, targeting the dining hall at the very moment it was most crowded. The blast was catastrophic. 4 soldiers lost their lives instantly, and more than 60 others were wounded, many suffering severe injuries. The attack was not just a tactical strike, it was a calculated blow designed to inflict maximum pain and fear. In seconds, a place of comfort and camaraderie was transformed into a scene of chaos and horror. Tables were overturned, windows shattered, and the air filled with dust, smoke, and the cries of the wounded. Soldiers who had moments before been relaxing now found themselves scrambling to help their injured friends, their training and instincts kicking in amid the confusion. First responders rushed into the devastation, their every move a race against time. Medics and firefighters, some of whom were off duty and nearby, arrived within minutes, braving the smoke and the risk of further attacks. Their training was put to the ultimate test as they worked to save lives, stabilize the wounded, and bring order to the chaos. The base, once a symbol of safety, had become a battleground. The strike exposed a chilling new reality for Israel. Even bases deep within the country, once considered untouchable, are now within the reach of enemy drones and missiles. The sense of invulnerability that many soldiers and civilians felt was gone, replaced by anxiety and uncertainty. The attack sent shockwaves through the military, prompting urgent reviews of security protocols and defensive measures. For Israelis across the nation, the attack shattered any lingering sense of security. Families watched the news in disbelief, struggling to comprehend how such a tragedy could unfold so close to home. The northern threat, once a distant concern, had proven it could strike anywhere at any time, leaving communities on edge and families fearful for their loved ones in uniform. In the days that followed, the names of the fallen soldiers emerged, each one a son, a brother, a friend. Their loss rippled through families, units, and entire communities, uniting the nation in grief. Vigils were held, candles lit, and stories shared, as Israelis mourned not just the individuals lost, but the innocence and security that had been taken from them. This was not a distant battle fought on foreign soil, it was a direct assault on the heart of Israel. The attack on the Golani Brigade's base stands as a stark reminder of the high price of conflict, and the resilience required to face an enemy that can strike at any moment. For Israel, the events of that night will not soon be forgotten. The Golani Brigade, instantly recognizable by their iconic brown berets, stands as a symbol of resilience and valor within the Israeli Defense Forces. Founded in 1948, the unit has been at the forefront of nearly every major conflict in Israel's history, earning a reputation for unwavering courage and determination. Over the decades, Golani soldiers have become legendary for their grit, often being called upon to tackle the most challenging missions and defend the nation's most vulnerable frontiers. With a storied history stretching back generations, the Golani Brigade is widely regarded as one of Israel's most respected and battle-hardened infantry units. Their legacy is built on sacrifice, brotherhood, and a relentless commitment to the defense of Israel's borders. Their base near Binyamina, nestled in the heart of Israel, serves as a critical training ground. Here, new recruits are transformed through grueling exercises and rigorous discipline, forging the next generation of warriors. The base is not just a place for physical training, but also a crucible where the values and traditions of the Golani Brigade are passed down. Seasoned veterans return to mentor the young, sharing hard-earned lessons from past battles and preparing them for the toughest fronts. The camaraderie and sense of purpose here are palpable, binding generations of soldiers together. Located well south of the volatile Lebanese border, the Binyamina base was long considered a safe haven, far from the immediate dangers of conflict. For many, it represented a rare sanctuary, a place where soldiers could train and regroup without fear of sudden attack. But that sense of security would soon be shattered. The attack on the base transformed this sanctuary into a front line overnight, upending Israel's assumptions about the reach and audacity of its adversaries. The shockwaves were felt not just by those stationed at Binyamina, but across the entire nation. For Hezbollah, striking at the heart of the Golani Brigade was more than a tactical move. It was a calculated, symbolic blow. By targeting such a revered unit, they sought to challenge the very spirit and resolve of the IDF, sending a message that no one, not even Israel's elite, is beyond their reach. The message was chillingly clear. The rules of engagement had changed and the psychological impact was immediate. The attack left soldiers and commanders alike questioning the safety of even the most fortified positions. By hitting Golani at home, Hezbollah aimed to undermine morale, sow doubt, and showcase its growing capabilities. The attack was designed to shake the confidence of Israel's military establishment and to demonstrate that nowhere is truly safe. The choice of target was as significant as the method, inflicting both physical destruction and deep psychological wounds. In the aftermath, the Golani Brigade faces not only the task of rebuilding, but also the challenge of restoring its sense of invulnerability and unity in the face of a new and unpredictable threat. The attack was a coordinated operation, not a random strike. Hezbollah began with a barrage of missiles at northern cities, overwhelming Israel's Iron Dome and creating a distraction. Amid the chaos, they launched squadrons of low-flying drones, one of which struck the Golani base. These drones, hard to detect by radar, exploited gaps in Israel's multi-layered defenses. The drone's 40-mile journey exposed vulnerabilities in Israel's airspace protection. The IDF, renowned for its technological edge, was caught off guard. This attack marked a shift. Drones, not just rockets, now threatened deep inside Israel. Israeli planners now face the urgent challenge of adapting to this evolving threat. Hezbollah quickly claimed responsibility, framing the attack as retaliation for Israeli airstrikes in Beirut. Their statement boasted of the operation's complexity and warned that worse could follow if Israel continued its offensives. This was psychological warfare, meant to instill fear and deter further Israeli action. Hezbollah's message: any escalation will be met with even greater force. The attack also reinforced Hezbollah's status as a key player in Iran's regional strategy. By demonstrating its reach, Hezbollah aimed to strengthen its position among allies and adversaries alike. The warning was not just for Israel, but for the entire region. Israel's leaders responded with fury and resolve. Prime Minister Netanyahu visited the devastated base, vowing to strike Hezbollah without mercy across Lebanon. Defense Minister Gallant echoed the call for a forceful response, promising severe consequences. The IDF launched immediate airstrikes on Hezbollah targets and began investigating the defense failure. Efforts focused on closing gaps in air defenses and deploying new anti-drone measures. The attack forced a rapid reassessment of Israel's security posture. Public statements projected strength, aiming to reassure Israelis and warn adversaries. The conflict had entered a new, more dangerous phase. The United States responded by deploying a THAAD anti-missile system and 100 troops to Israel, a rare show of direct military support. President Biden called it a defensive move, following both the Hezbollah attack and a recent Iranian missile strike. The deployment sent a clear message to Iran and its proxies: the U.S. stands firmly with Israel. Iran, in turn, warned that U.S. troops in Israel would be at risk if conflict escalated. Diplomatic channels between the U.S. and Iran were suspended, raising tensions further. The reappearance of Iran's Quds Force commander signaled Tehran's defiance. The U.S. move, meant to deter aggression, also risked drawing America deeper into the conflict. The Golani base attack triggered a wave of Israeli strikes across Lebanon, reaching far beyond the border. In Aitu, deep in northern Lebanon, Israeli airstrikes killed at least 19 people, expanding the war's reach. Meanwhile, fighting in Gaza raged on, with Israeli strikes killing dozens, including children, and hitting hospitals and schools. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza worsened, with aid convoys struggling and disease threatening to spread. Israel now faces a two-front war, stretching its military and political resources. Every action in one theater risks escalation in the other. The cycle of retaliation grows, making de-escalation ever more elusive. Civilians in Lebanon, Gaza, and Israel bear the brunt of the violence. the UN has found itself under fire, literally and diplomatically. UNIFIL peacekeepers in southern Lebanon have been caught in the crossfire, with some posts damaged and personnel injured. Israel denies targeting the UN, blaming Hezbollah for operating near peacekeepers. Tensions have risen, with some countries calling Israeli actions unacceptable. In Gaza, UN agencies struggled to deliver aid amid relentless fighting and destroyed infrastructure. Attacks on UN-run schools and shelters have strained relations further. The UN is left trying to manage a humanitarian disaster while being criticized by all sides. The drone attack left deep scars, physical and emotional, on survivors and families of the fallen. In homes across Israel, the pain is raw and immediate as loved ones struggle to process the sudden loss and the trauma of violence. Hospitals are filled not only with the wounded but with the echoes of grief and the quiet resilience of those determined to heal. Communities gather to mourn, lighting candles and sharing stories, trying to find meaning in tragedy. The sense of vulnerability has grown, with nowhere in Israel feeling truly safe. Even the most ordinary routines, walking to school, shopping for groceries, meeting friends, are now shadowed by the threat of sudden violence. The fear is palpable, and it seeps into every aspect of daily life, changing how people interact, where they go, and how they think about the future. Daily life is now marked by sirens and anxiety, fueling calls for decisive action but also deepening uncertainty. Parents try to reassure their children, but the questions are hard to answer. News broadcasts run constantly, dissecting every development, while families huddle together, hoping for reassurance that rarely comes. The sense of normalcy has been shattered, replaced by a constant state of alert. The region stands on the brink of a wider war, with Iran and the US poised to be drawn in. Every decision made in these tense rooms could have consequences far beyond Israel's borders. The world watches as alliances are tested and old rivalries threaten to erupt into open conflict, raising the stakes for everyone involved. The risk of catastrophic miscalculation is high, and diplomatic options are fading. Negotiators work around the clock, but trust is in short supply. Each new escalation makes compromise harder to achieve, and the window for peaceful resolution narrows with every passing hour. The world's attention is fixed on the region, hoping for a breakthrough that seems increasingly elusive. The next moves by Israel, Hezbollah, and their backers will shape the region's fate. Military leaders weigh their options, aware that any action could trigger a chain reaction. The balance between deterrence and escalation is razor thin, and the decisions made now will echo for generations. For now, civilians on all sides live in fear, caught in a conflict with no clear end. Families are forced to make impossible choices, whether to stay or flee, how to protect their loved ones, and how to hold on to hope in the face of relentless uncertainty. The human cost grows with each passing day, as the world waits for a sign of peace. The attack on the Golani Brigade may be remembered as the spark that ignited a far larger fire. Its impact is still unfolding, and the future remains unwritten, shaped by the choices of leaders, the resilience of ordinary people, and the hope that peace can still prevail amid the darkness.